Hello and welcome back. My name is Kabira and this is Kabira Speaks. So today I want to talk to you about faith and religion, specifically Christianity, because I'm 25 years old and right now I am really in a difficult place regarding my faith and Christianity. So I want to vlog about that. I want to talk about that. But I figured I better start with the beginning, how my faith looked like when I was a child and when I was older, and then current date. So I was raised in a Christian household. I was adopted when I was around 3, and both of my parents are Christians, so they wanted to raise their children in the church, and they wanted to raise their children growing up knowing God. So I had very early exposure to faith, religion, and the concept of God. I believe I accepted Christ into my heart when I was about 5 years old. Now my memories of my childhood are I don't think I have a lot of memories of like early childhood. But I do remember accepting Christ when I was about 5, and when I was turning 5, my brother died. So faith and religion was really a huge staple for my family because we needed it in a time of hardship, such as losing a child or losing a sibling. So I was introduced to the concept of heaven, and that's where my brother went. My brother went to heaven, and then of course, alongside the discussion of heaven comes the discussion of hell. And I was very, very scared that I was going to go to hell. I remember when I was a child, I was just always so afraid. Now, have you ever seen Left Behind or heard of the Left Behind series? I don't remember when it came out, but probably the 90s or maybe even earlier. But the author of this series, so he studied Revelations. Revelations is the last book in the Bible. Revelations talks about the end of earth and what happens after Jesus comes back. And the books, there was a kid series, there was an adult series, and even though it scared me so much, I immersed myself in Left Behind, and I read Revelations, when I was old enough to read and understand it. But as a child, I was terrified that I would be left behind. So when I was in my basement, which was our playroom, and I would go upstairs, and if I didn't see someone immediately, the first thought I would have is that, oh my gosh, they went to heaven and I got left here by myself. So because of that, now I was always in things like Vacation Bible School and church camps and Sunday school and things like that. Now something that's, I think, fairly common for pastors to do is something called an altar call, where they will say, okay, if anyone here wants to accept Jesus into their heart today, then you can raise your hand, and everyone will close their eyes so no one will know who it is, and right here, right now, we can pray together and you can accept Jesus into your heart. And I would do that over and over again. I would raise my hand at these altar calls and re-accept Christ into my heart because I was so scared that I was going to hell. Eventually, my faith became more of my own and less of just the fear that I was going to the bad place. So when I was in high school, I was God was a central part of my life. I really enjoyed going to church. I liked the sermons. I found them very interesting. My least favorite part of church was the worship part, actually. So the worship is just singing joyous songs to God. It's praising Him. It's worshiping with other Christians. It's supposed to be a really nice thing, but I never enjoyed it. I didn't like singing in a group. I just didn't love it. But I did otherwise love church. So as a high schooler, I began going to this summer camp, which I also grew to love very dearly. I still do to this day. It was a Christian camp, so I made friends there with people who were other Christians. I encouraged all of my friends at the time to be Christians with me. I talked about God all the time with them. I did have friends who came to Christ after I told them about it. They would come to church with me and come to like church picnics with me. And I liked all of that stuff. I really felt like I had a family within the church, in addition to my family that I did have, but I had a family within the church. I had friends within the church. When I got older, I was able to take on some like leadership positions, and I would even do things like on my own. Like I got together a group of girls to have a Bible study with, so we could talk about our faith as high school girls and all the things that go with that. Embarrassingly enough, I'm gonna tell you the story. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. So, no, I can't tell you. No, I'll just say it. So, a big thing about Christianity is doing your best to not sin. So human beings are sinful in nature, but if you love God, then you'll pray to God and he will help you and you will sin less. So of course, one of the sins is sex before marriage or sex outside of marriage. So I wasn't having sex in high school, but one day on my bus, a friend of mine like showed me some naughty stuff on their cell phone, and I was just like stricken, like, oh God, now I'm a porn addict. Like I really was so serious about my faith and doing my best to not sin, and sex, although all sins are equal in the eyes of Christians, always seemed like the biggest like no sin. And so for me to have seen something like that, I took it very, very seriously, and I told everyone at this Bible study that I had, like, guys, my fellow 15-year-old Christians, I'm coming to you today because I'm a porn addict. So that's my embarrassing story. It kind of just shows you like how I was at that time. But anyway, so when I was in, I think 11th grade, I went on a mission trip to Philadelphia, where I would speak to homeless people about God and, hand out food. I think there was also a church being built there, so I was helping do that. I say that because I don't know anything about construction, so I was kind of in the way. But and then the following year, in 12th grade, I would then go on another mission trip to El Salvador, and the mission trip at this time was working with orphans or kids without parents, and it was a beautiful trip. I had a great time. I met some amazing people, and I thought maybe I would eventually go back to El Salvador, but I haven't been back. So then, as a senior in high school, you begin thinking about what you want to do with your life. And one day when I was at that summer camp that I mentioned, I was working there at this point, but I was at the summer camp. It's called Delta Lake Bible Conference Center. And I felt very clearly that God had plans for my life, and that plan included me becoming a pastor. And it was like I had never heard God speak to me before. So it was, very emotional. I was very excited. I was bawling that night, telling everyone after the fact, like God spoke to me and I'm going to be a pastor. And so I applied to a Christian college in New York, Nyack, and I was all set. I got accepted into their program for seminary school, and then I found out that I wouldn't be able to go to Nyack because I couldn't afford to go. This was a private college out of state, since I was from Pennsylvania, so I couldn't go. And it just kind of like just stopped me in my tracks. Like, this was my plan. God told me to do this, and then it didn't work out. And I tried so many different things, like different scholarships and loopholes and all different types of things. And like people worked with me from the school, like financial aid, and people prayed for me, and it just didn't happen. And it never happened. I never went to seminary school. And then eventually I didn't want to anymore. But that's more part 2 of the video. And I think I'm gonna stop there for today. But I did wanna read you a passage that I found that really stood out to me. It really just meant a lot to me with some stuff that I'm going through right now. in my life, because this has been a really difficult year for me, and I think for a lot of people, and I'm struggling and questioning my faith. So I will read this to you, and I'll let you make of it what you will. This is Psalms, and David wrote it. This is Psalm 31. Okay. Oh, and my Bible is like a New Living Translation. This is something I did when I was younger. For I know the plans I have for you. It's a verse in Jeremiah. Okay, but this is David 31. I run to you, God. I run for dear life. Don't let me down. Take me seriously this time. Get down on my level and listen, and please, no procrastination. Your granite cave a hiding place, your high cliff area a place of safety. You're my cave to hide in, my cliff to climb. Be my safe leader. Be my true mountain guide. Free me from hidden traps. I want to hide in you. I've put my life in your hands. You won't drop me. You'll never let me down. I hate all this silly religion, but you, God, I trust. I'm leaping and singing in the circle of your love. You saw my pain. You disarmed my tormentors. You didn't leave me in their clutches, but gave me room to breathe. Be kind to me, God. I'm in deep, deep trouble again. I've cried my eyes out. I feel hollow inside. My life leaks away, groan by groan. My years fade out in sighs. My troubles have worn me out, turned my bones to powder. To my enemies, I'm a monster. I'm ridiculed by the neighbors. My friends are horrified. They cross the street to avoid me. They want to blot me from their memory. Forget me like a corpse in a grave. Discard me like a broken dish in the trash. The street talk gossip has me criminally insane. Behind locked doors, they plot how to ruin me for good. Desperately, I throw myself at you. You are my God. Hour by hour, I place my days in your hand, safe from the hands out to get me. Warm me, your servant, with a smile. Save me because you love me. Don't embarrass me by not showing up. I've given you notice. Embarrass the wicked, stand them up, leave them stupidly shaking their heads as they drift down to hell. Gag the loudmouth liars who heckle me, your follower, with jeers and catcalls. What a stacking of blessing you have piled up for those who worship you, ready and waiting for all who run to you to escape an unkind world. You hide them safely away from the opposition. As you slam the door on those oily, mocking faces, you silence the poisonous gossip. Blessed God, his love is the wonder of the world. Trapped out by a siege, I panicked. Out of sight, out of mind, I said. But you heard me say it. You heard and listened. Love God, all you saints. God takes care of those who stay close to him, and he pays back in full those arrogant enough to go it alone. Be brave, be strong, don't give up. Expect God soon. So when I read a verse like that, it reminds me of why I became a Christian in the first place. That when things are hard, God is there. Things are good, God is there. So yeah, that's it for today, and we'll continue this talk soon. Bye.